I'm here with Chris of Alestorm to talk about the Thunderfist Chronicles. By the way, when I first saw the title of the record, I thought this was like an homage to OnlyFans.
What?
You know, Thunderfist? Like, you know.
What? You must watch a lot more pornography than I do, man. I don't know.
So maybe it's just me. Okay, so it's just me. I put my hands up, guilty as charged. The album comes out June 20th on Napalm Records. How's things going with you?
Yeah, everything's great. I'm looking forward to this. I hope people like it, but I don't care if they don't, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, but it's been a nice time. We've been touring a bunch, far too much, and I'm just excited to get this out here and then start on the next one. So yeah.
So let's talk a little bit before we talk about this one. Let's talk about the previous one, the Seventh Room of the Seventh Room. That album was super successful for you guys across the board.
I
Uh,
mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, it just feels like I don't say mid-tier, but like it's business as usual. I don't know. I don't know if it was like, I mean, the song Party went off because people love that disco bullshit, I guess. But apart from that, I think it was just, I don't know. Yeah, it's fine. Fine, I think. It was fine. It
so
was
so
fine.
I'm assuming that that record didn't change the scale for you, and when it came to come to into this album in terms of what the next record was going to be all about. Do you guys ever look back before you look forward, or are you always looking forward?
I mean, yeah, like obviously it's listen to the old stuff and see how it goes and see what people like. And but then I try and ignore all that. Like I don't want to make the album people want. I'm kind of sick of that bullshit. So I just make the album I want to make, which is this just absolute nonsense. Like I said, like in that last one we tried a lot of things to like, oh, let's write some old school Ailstorm stuff. So there was like, songs like Magellan's Expedition and the title track had that sort of older Ailstorm vibe. And yeah, like you said, people don't care. It's like I think there's people on the internet who pretend to want to hear that stuff, but they don't actually mean it. Or it's like a minority of five people. So anyway, I thought, fuck that shit. And we did this EP last year, and we had this like the first. I guess, frankly, it was a single with bonus tracks, um, and the what's it called? Voyage of the Dead Marauder, and that was like I think that was more of a vibe I want to go for, like this sort of weird, sort of progressive and weirdness going on. And so I think that sort of shaped more where I was going next with this album. But yeah, sorry, what was I saying? I lost track. What was the? Yeah, we look back on stuff, but mostly it's like I want to do something different. It's we look back, as in to make sure what not to do. Like, okay, we've done that. Let's not do that again. Let's do something else. And that's just the way I've been working, I guess.
So from that perspective, when you look at this album, is this a more daring record from Ailstorm's perspective?
I guess so, yeah. There was nothing really on this album that was that I had this conscious feeling of, oh, this song ticks boxes that'll sell you records or shit. Everything was like there was a lot of songs where like these riffs come together, and like the only thought was this doesn't sound like Hailstorm. And maybe in the past I would have said, oh, therefore we won't do it. Now I'm like, fuck it, who cares? Let's do it. Just basically it's a stream of consciousness, whatever bullshit appears put on the record. And in a way, through the recording and adding my vocals and the way the arrangements and the instruments, like all the live brass and stuff, in the end, everything sounds like Hailstorm when we record it. So yeah, I think it's kind of liberating in a way, realizing that because I've always had this idea of like, yeah, we do what we want to do. But this time I was like, kind of realized we can actually get away with it. We can actually get away with writing absolute nonsense that does not sound like bullshit stadium arena metal. And so like the first song was this sort of children of bottom thing, and then there's like the last song's 17 minutes long, and that's not what you're supposed to do, but we did it anyway.
Definitely you guys. Speaking of that track, which is Mega Supreme Treasure of the Eternal Thunderfist, a 17-minute song to close off the record was not on my bucket list of items for the next Ailstorm record, that is for sure. How was that song even born?
I mean, writing long songs is easy, actually. It's actually easier than writing short songs because when you're writing like one of these like 3 minute bangers, it has to be perfect. You have to have a little hook at the start. Then you have to hurry up through your bullshit and get to a chorus, that kind of thing. but when you're, like if you want to try to hit all those metrics for like getting your fucking 10 billion YouTube views, but when you're writing a long song, doesn't matter. You can throw that shit out the window. Like people, for starters, the only people who will listen to a long song are people are either hyper fans or people who have a lot of patience. So you've already got a more refined audience. So you can there's no harm in having one riff repeat for 4 minutes and building it up. Like people will still listen, which is cool. And then you can just, and because nothing is so critical anymore, because everything is it's such a long thing, it's such a big canvas. You can put all these weird riffs in that. Like I've got this vault of riffs that I have no idea what to do with because they don't work in songs. But in this song, I was just grabbing things out of that vault and throwing them in because why the hell not? Like if at 7 minutes in there's this bizarre 5 second riff that doesn't make sense, who cares? 5 seconds later, you're on to the next thing, and you've got this thing building up. So it's a really exciting way to write songs, I think. There's a lot of potential for just doing all the madness. And I want to do more of that. I think the next album might just be longer and longer songs, who knows?
Yeah, that's what's going to be my next question is that did this spark some interest that was buried deep within you that we'll see more of this in future Ailstorm records?
I mean, like we've always done, in the past I'd written long songs for Glory Hammer and Ailstorm had like flirted with the concept of long songs. We had like, I mean, there was Sunset on the Golden Age, the title track of that album was long, but it was quite meandering and didn't ever have like the same epicness as this. And we did had songs like Captain Morgan's Revenge, 1741, which are like big-ish songs, but this was like a whole different thing. And yeah, I've been thinking about that song a lot today, and I don't know. I feel like in a way it's journalist bait. It's because like I've done this is like what 3 or 4 interviews today. Every single person is wetting their pants over that song, going, "Oh my God, the long song!" Yeah, like all these email interviews I've been doing. You know, there'd be like 4 questions in a row asking about this big long song. I'm like, wow, this is like it's fun. I guarantee in the real world, no one's gonna like it, but whatever. Uh, but yeah, it's fun. I realized it doesn't matter, and I like writing that stuff, and that's all that matters. Is I want to write stuff I enjoy, like so yeah, more of that I think is going to be on the cards. Unfortunately, it's just going to be. I think I always had this dream of like doing an album, a 2 track album, where like track one is like the most sellout bullshit, perfectly crafted Sabaton, Powerwolf, Arena Core nonsense track. The one that all the stupid kids love, and then a 37-minute long epic after that. Like that'd be so good. That's going to be the ninth Hailstorm album is going to be a 2 track album, one 3 minute song and one 37-minute long song, and that's it.
I love the idea. When I saw this song and when I heard this song on the record, the first thing that I thought is, Chris is getting tired of a lot of the boxes that people have put you guys in. Not necessarily yourselves putting yourselves in the boxes, but people have put you guys in the boxes. And I
Yeah.
think once you get to the eighth record, you're probably tired of some songs, you're probably tired of some themes, you're probably tired of some song structures, and you really, as an artist, you want to be as creative as possible. I get the feeling like this is your finger to that, giving the big middle finger to that.
Yeah, like I think there was a time when I really wanted to be the biggest band in the world. I was like, everyone does. Everyone's like, I want to start a band and I want to be famous. Then it was actually like early last year. I ended up at a bunch of like arena shows, like in these sort of like 8,000 whatever cap venues, watching some bands. I got some tickets and saw some bands. It was like 3 or 4 shows I went to, and I was like, one of these seats way up, who knows where. And I just sat there and thought, I don't like this. Like I enjoy this band's music, but I don't like this. I don't like this environment. I don't like this world. I don't like the way the crowd is interacting with the band. I don't like the amount of shit on stage. It's like I don't want to be that band. So it was like this weird little epiphany for me that I realized I'm kind of happy with everything where we are as a band. Like it's, we play pretty big shows, pretty fucking big shows. But it's nothing stupid. And it's like when you want to become a band that plays in those sort of arenas and beyond, inevitably your music has to it's almost like a function of the acoustics of the room that bands tend towards writing these kind of kind of songs because anything else turns to mud. Like if you see a band playing a fast song in an arena, it's just a wall of reverb and a wash. It's not fun. So yeah, and anyway, so yeah, I thought, I just want to do this. I want to, I don't want to be that band. So I just started writing chaos and things that, say don't fit on Alestorm albums that somehow did, and basically ignoring what people want us to be, which is, I think people want us to be some sort of, stadium pop metal band, and I'm bored of that. It's like, I think that genre has become oversaturated. Like, I think it was fun maybe, 10 years ago when there wasn't much of it. There was like maybe there was us and a couple of other bands flirting with stupidity. And now it seems to be the norm that you go on stage and you're stupid. And it's you put on your whatever costume and and you have a 3 minute song with a disco break. Like that, I think that used to be exciting. Like I remember when I heard the first Amaranth album and they had those bleepy bloopy synths. I think, holy shit, this is the future. And now that just feels like so cringe and dated having all that nonsense. So yeah, I don't know anymore. So I think I'm just gonna write absolute chaos is the future.
In other words, you're not going to be the next Sleep Token.
Oh God, no. That's I mean that's a world that's beyond anything I even dream of. That's not my it's I don't is that even metal anymore? I don't know. It's a band I've never listened. Like I listened to their album like once, like recently, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like it's nothing that seems relevant to anything I've ever thought about in my life. So
That
it's
makes two of us. It
yeah,
makes it definitely makes two of us. So you
it's
guys,
like basically you're just basically the Deftones. I don't like the Deftones, so
I'm not a
anyway.
Deftones fan either, so that we have a lot more in common than I would think to begin with. You found some room on this pirate ship on these chronicles for some goblins. Is there room for a goblin on a pirate ship?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like, well, so that's the whole Necrogoblicon thing. We actually toured with them in Australia recently, and I hadn't told them we were doing a cover of their songs. So, like, one day I was like, guys, come with me, sit down. We all sat down in the backstage, and I played that song to them. I played Goblins Ahoy, our cover, on a little speaker. They were like, whoa, no way, dude. And that was fun. But yeah, it's weird because back when we were like in our earliest days, like 2006 or so, and doing demos and stuff. That was when Necrogoblicon was kind of getting started, and they released the album that had a Goblins Ahoy on it. And so then there was like this very brief period of time when it was like, oh my God, Alestorm and Necrogoblicon, it's pirate metal, even though like just because the way people think. And they had this one song about pirates, kind of. And so that was like a weird thing for like 5 minutes, like 15 years ago. And ever since then, I've been like, oh, we need to cover this song. It's kind of been in the back of my head. And yeah, just now felt like the right time for it. Like I always like doing one cover on an album just because why not? You can. And yeah, this was the time. And it's nice. Like and Elliot does some really cool screams. Like I think his screaming has got better. He's got so much better technique that he it used to be like we had songs where Elliot did the scream vocals, our keyboard player, and there was like he couldn't do it for too long. He was like, yeah, we can't have too many scream bits, otherwise I will lose my voice. But he's got a technique now. He's figured out how to do it properly, so he can scream till the cows come home. So yeah, there's a lot more. You notice there's probably a lot more screams on this album because it's cool. It's cool and fun. And yeah, so it works. Obviously, that song is so much screaming. So yeah, that's how that
Yeah.
happened.
For sure. You mentioned live and what you don't want to be. When you look at this record and where you look at where you're going, how much of the direction of the band has been shaped by how much touring you guys have done?
Yeah, so like it was that for a long time that I'd write songs based entirely on what works live, and that would lend itself to like simpler songs. I think with this album, like simpler, catchier songs, like big sing-along choruses and stuff. With this album, I wasn't even thinking with that in mind, which is potentially a bad idea because this album's hard. Like this, we're like middling to good musicians, I'd say. And there's like songs on this album that are like, fuck me, why did we write this? It's like say if like see that the first track, Hyperion Omnirif, can't even speak. If that becomes the hit for some reason, we're fucked because that is so hard to play. Like for us at least, it's like we don't have enough fingers for that. The keyboard plots are really annoying. There's too much guitars going on at once. It sounds sick on record, but fuck, that's hard. So I hope no one likes that in a way. So yeah, but like, there's a couple of songs like The Storm and Killed to Death that are like nice and easy to play. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that's what goes off, and we can just play those forever. Yeah.
Is it getting harder and harder to put? I mean, you mentioned how much touring you've done. You guys were part of the pagan fest that ran over Europe. Is it getting harder and harder to put a set list together that satisfies the fan base?
I I don't know. Like, yes and no. It's hard because there's inevitably we like playing songs that people like to hear. Especially we know what songs work well live, and I don't want to, as much as I'm moaning about fucking mainstream bullshit stadium core, I don't want to be one of those bands who goes on stage and the audience kind of just stares at you. Ugh. It's because it's such a cool feeling when you play a great song that everyone loves and they're all singing along and people are going crazy and they know all the parts. Um, so there's a lot of like auto include songs in our set these days that it's getting to the point where it's like there's only maybe room for one or two wild cards. Otherwise, we have to cut a song that is just either smash hit or one that works so well live. And yeah, it's basically what do we cut while still maintaining interesting set lists? Because we don't want to be that band who just plays the same set every year, which is, it's but I feel like it's heading in that direction. So I don't know. But it's like I say, it's hopefully people like some different songs one of these days, and we can put those in. And because it used to be that going way back in time to what 2008, 2009, people would go crazy over Wenches and Mead, and we've been sticking that song in the set list now and then in the last couple of years. No one cares. It's like it may as well be an obscure B-side but that was like the pretty much the song that made us before we like did like songs like Keelhauled. So it's weird, like, I guess the fan base ages out, new ones come in, and people forget about the old stuff. That's depressing too, isn't it? Um, but occasionally, because I'm one of those fans. I'd go and see bands like, oh, play that song from your third album, but now they're on their 15th album, and all the fans want to hear those songs. I'm like, oh, I don't know.
It's hard to keep everybody happy. Having said
Yeah.
that, the last time you guys played in Toronto, I was at the show. I don't know if you remember, but the railing broke, and
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, yeah.
the show almost had to be canceled. There would have been a riot. I think if the show was canceled, there would have been a riot. Uh, how much of those kind of shenanigans happen to you guys all the time? Because I feel like the fan base of Alestorm is there to have a great time, and if breaking a railing is what it takes to have a great time, so be it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's safety concerns. Like, we've all seen these horror stories about death crushes at shows, and like no one wants that to be on their record. Um, but our fans are wild. That's for sure. And we've occasionally played shows, occasionally play even festivals that don't normally book metal bands. But Ailstorm has some sort of occasional mainstream popularity that crosses over. So we get like a pop festival booking Ailstorm, and they're used to like just people maybe bouncing on the spot, and then like usually we have to get our tour manager to before the show brief the security saying this is not a normal show. Like this band, we have set records at festivals for crowd surfers. Like we had 1,700, sorry, crowd surfers in a 60-minute set in Denmark once for the festivals. Like it gets nuts. Like the amount of people moshing and for what is we are a pretty light band. The amount of moshing and crazy shit that happens is way beyond our heaviest level. And some venues are not prepared for it. Fuck, where was it? It was on, I think it was on Pagan Fest in the spring. And like there was a couple of security guards and they were just watching as people were crowd surfing over and then just falling into the pit. And they were like, "Oh, that's terrible." I'm like, I literally said, "I'm like, you fucking moron, fucking pick them up." And like we had to get and our guitar tech had to stop doing his guitar tech shit, jump into the pit and start grabbing people because the security guards were so clueless. So yeah, it happens. We just sometimes we play in venues where like they just don't know what happens at our shows. And yeah, thankfully no one's died because That would be really grim. I don't think I want that, believe it or not, to see someone just drop dead in front of me. So it hasn't happened yet. Hopefully never will. Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope that never happens. But it was a great experience to see. First of all, you guys handle it perfectly by asking the crowd to be calm, which, like, I mean, that's like asking Alestorm fans not to buy a beer. So th that went way over everybody's head. But it was a great moment, something that I definitely look back on with a smile because it just really showcases how hyped everybody was to see you guys. Now, on the back end of this album coming out, you guys have a massive US tour in the fall.
Oh yeah.
A really long tour in the fall. When you look at touring in the US, because you guys tour a lot all over the world, but when you look at all the, the visa costs or bands not getting their visas, that kind of stuff, do you worry about the state of touring when it comes to North America?
Yeah, like I wish it was easier. Like we've never had problems in the past. We're always as he ahead of time as possible. We always pay extra for the premium processing straight away. We don't take, risks. Because I mean, it's end of the day, I'll be honest, America's a very good market for us. We can pay the bills for like 6 months of a US tour, I'll be honest. So it's absolutely worth spending every single penny we can to make sure it all goes right. When we've got a luckily we have an entire duplicate backline stored in the USA. We have one in Europe, one in America. So we have drum kits, everything, guitars. So we don't have to bring anything in out of the country. One of the reasons like this tour is only the USA is that I don't want to cross no borders with a truck full of shit these days. Like it's that's I don't want to end up getting freaking tariffed on my own gear going into Canada and back again. And yeah, but once we're in and it's fine. But yeah, I still worry. Like we're actually in the middle of the visa process right now. And financially it's fine. It's just there is still the worry, even with the premium processing, that it can go wrong. Like things can take so long. But it's only a small worry. I think we're pretty good at this. But it also makes it really hard to get support bands because you have to get a band that you know is going to get a visa or an American band. There's not many American bands that are fun and big. It's all like local bands and shit. So it's kind of depressing in a way that it's we would love to bring crazy lineups to the States, but never
Makes
mind.
life harder. You guys were also a little bit of a globetrotter because you guys did a massive Canadian tour, really like one of the first bands at this size that
Yeah,
did an all Canada tour, not just a couple of shows in the East Coast. You guys went all the way across Canada.
yeah.
You played two sold out shows in Toronto when you guys did that tour. Was that a calculated gamble? You guys were ahead of the curve, really.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it's that thing where like if you do a Canadian tour, you don't only Canada, you don't have to worry about visas for support bands, so you can bring a totally different lineup. We had like Ape and Aimer on that one, this French band, and yeah, it's less tax bullshit to deal with because like it's just doing one country at once is just so much easier in terms of logistics. And yeah, we've always been pretty relatively popular in Canada. Like I think actually on the back of that, because that was in December 2019, we did this
That
cross
is
Canada
correct.
tour. And it was what 6 months later, our Crystal Coconut album came out. It actually, I assume off the back of that tour, it got to like I think it was number 6 in the charts. We sold more than Jimmy Buffett did on that release week. That's my gonna be my claim to fame on my tombstone is sold more CDs than Jimmy Buffett in Canada. We're gonna do that again because like I say, this tour is just the US. So within 6 months after that, maybe like a while now, isn't it? We'll do a tour. It's just Canada, coast to coast. No border crossings, no bullshit. Maybe even bigger, maybe even more places. We'll find some more cities and play them.
I find the popularity of the band in Canada is tremendous. I mean, like I said, you guys that on that tour played back-to-back shows in Toronto, both sold out at the Opera House, which is not, like I can't remember the last time a band played back-to-back. Well, the last time
Yeah.
was Metallica, but that's
They played that venue as well. It's like a cool little it's a fun thing to do, like playing small venues. But yeah, it's like we want to do we'll come back, we'll do like bigger shows. Like we had plans for there was actually talk of doing some arena stuff in like Montreal. I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, we'll do a big tour. Like I think we can do some like good, like it's basically I'd play Europe for us, play 2000 cap venues and it's nice. And but the venue is, I think that's like the sweet spot for me, between shit gets too big and shit gets too small. There's like that 1,500 people is like the perfect show. You're still, obviously venue dependent. Like you can get a nice stage, you can see the whole crowd, no one's too far away, and it's just nice. And more of that.
Do you view that from the artist standpoint or also as a fan? Like you,
Um,
that's what your sweet spot is.
Both, I think. I mean, in my experience, I've been to, I mean, sometimes it's fun to go to a pub show when it's like like that whole, like if you get lucky to see a crazy huge band who's somehow playing in a pub, can't beat that. But that's not really sustainable for anyone. But yeah, yeah, for me that like 1,500 is just it's the right it's the size a metal show should be. At that size, especially at that size, it'll still feel like a metal show. It's like no offense to casuals, but like when a show gets really big, there's a lot of casuals just sort of standing there who aren't really into it. It's like, oh, I heard that song on TikTok. I'm gonna go and see what that's all about. No, it's like I think that's the limit at which you get like dedicated fans, and it's sick.
You're hitting the nail on the head. Like you go to those shows and half of the people are there because they heard one song like 10 years ago on a TikTok reel or some shit like that. Yeah, I totally get you. I'm with you 100% on that. Chris, thank you very much for your time, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to you about Alestorm. I hope to see you guys on that Canadian run again. I'm sure the barricades will be reinforced the next time you guys
Yeah.
come to town. Because you guys were also one of the first bands, if not the first band, to play that venue. So I don't think they were really prepared for what they were getting.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, want to shout out. Actually, the security staff on that show, they were on top of that shit because the venue wasn't ready, but they were. And like, we told the guy, like, dude, pay that crew a bonus because they fucking rocked that night.
Yeah, they were really good. They were really good. Chris, thank you very much. Best of luck with this release. Best of luck with that US tour that you guys are embarking on in the fall. And I'll see you in Toronto at some point in time.
Yeah, see you there. Cheers, buddy.
Take care, man.